This podcast is powered by As Always Entertainment. If you enjoy this content, consider becoming a patron over on patreon.com/asalways. Other than to support this show for just $1 a month or more, you get access to over 50 exclusive episodes of the Kill Connor Clubhouse podcast that release every week the Kill Connor Club podcast isn't on. You also get a week's early access to the Spoilercast show, The Cinema Room, and plenty of cool perks such as being part of polls for future videos on our channels, as well as other early access material. With that said, please enjoy the podcast.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Cinema Room podcast, the Spoilercast podcast where we cover movies, television show seasons and video games. Today we are doing a spoilercast on the live action Disney's Aladdin. So if you haven't seen Aladdin, probably click off this podcast, go see it, and then come and have a listen as we discuss it. I am one of your hosts, Tyler, joined as always by James.
As always. How's it going?
Good, man. Good. How are you?
Brilliant. I'm great.
That was the best intro I've done probably so far.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Proud.
Didn't fuck it up. Proud of it, other than acknowledging it afterwards. Did alright. Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast, of course, is powered by As Always Entertainment. Patreon.com/As Always to support us. This podcast comes out a week early there, so if you like what you're listening to here,
incredible.
Go support us there, just $1 a month. 7 days early access to the Cinema Room podcast, and we have our producers King Richard III, Ikraik, Seth, and Josh Devillier to thank for that. So as I said, we're talking about Aladdin live action, so we'll be obviously breaking down the film, and of course comparing it to the original animated Aladdin with Robin Williams, because you know, of course, that's what everyone's going to do for it. So it will be no different. James, you've rewatched that recently this week. Did you watch it just before you went and watched the live action?
I did, the night before. I did.
Yeah. I didn't. I watched just the live action, and then I told you I was going to watch because I have it on Blu-ray, right? I have the Blu-ray of the animated one.
Yeah.
Well, it's at my parents' house. It's at my parents' house.
And then, so you drove to your parents' house, you got it, and you watched it, right?
No, I did not. I've been sick all week, man. I've been sick all week. Yeah, no, so I've seen it a million times. I'm not gonna I don't not know what happens.
It's fine. Don't worry. I got the side covered. I've noted all the changes. I haven't mentally noted them. We'll be fine.
You've mentally noted all the changes. Well, that's good. I'm glad you've done that. And again, we've got to thank the Sweet Vintage Lads over at patreon.com/as always. Our shout out list that we read out at the beginning and end of every podcast. So thanks to these Sweet Vintage Lads for making this podcast happen. Again, there's exclusive podcasts, the Kill Connor Clubhouse. Every week, Kill Connor Club's on, and a week's early access to this podcast for $1 a month if you support this. Plus a whole bunch of other rewards and tiers, including for $5 a month, this nameless tier, which is King Richard III, Ikraik, Seth, Ballsack47, Kassassin, Josh Devillier, TJFL, Damian, Billy, the Team Tynamite Captain Robertson, Tman Travis, KEMOSABE Gamer, Alfie Rodbert, Casey Wood, Adam Sundling, Alfie Rowsell, Jamie Brown, Smexy Dork, Lumistrad, Mario5380, Cap is Worthy, Viridian, Pink Flame 313, ArunWyn, OllieTheDane, Fuck Cuck, Nib, Brendon or BQ Overlord, Ravjai, Julie, Prudhvi Muvva, Oscar, Benedict Parker returns, James and Lad, Connor Durose Bully in the alleys are here, Gene, Zeek Collins, Son of a Bitch, Ogeaidogo, Dammit Glenn, Furious Coco, the ACMJS, Delta R. Rodriguez, Kyle, S. Kyle Marvel, Marcus Blackburn, Emil Katborg, Joshua Mora, Ginko Swag, Baby Boy, Master Bass, Yazen, Joe the Sexy Boi Smith, Elstico91, Joe, A.K.A FoundedScarab, H12, I got Lumbago, Iron Man's for the Dads, Brian Falk, Casper, Milk Boy, Shields, Fishy, and Andrew Martinez. Thanks to Sweet Vintage Lads for helping power this podcast.
Amazing.
I'm pretty sick and shocked I managed to fucking get through that list with breath.
Yeah. Good job.
Okay. Here we are. Cinema Room. Another one. Aladdin. First question, of course. Actually, before we even get into did you like it, what were your expectations going into this? Seeing the trailers, did you think this is going to be shit? Because I did. I was like, I'm a bit about this.
Yeah, look, like I said, I think did we talk about this on the last Cinema Room or last Clubhouse? I don't remember. I said
a few podcasts ago.
Yeah, I said I'm not a huge fan of the idea of remaking these Disney movies, specifically because it's tough to do things in film. One is animation, another one is video games. That's why they normally don't go down very well when people try to remake classic video games in movies or classic animated cartoons in movies. It never really goes very well because it's tough to do, you know. There's certain emotions, certain character traits, like especially with Disney, like these characters are so stylized that it's difficult to capture them properly in live action, and so I'm just sort of one for being like, just avoid that altogether by not even trying to do it, because you're always going to mess up in some way. And so, yeah, honestly, going into this, I expected it to be pretty fucking shit. Bearing in mind, I have seen Beauty and the Beast, which I thought was fine. A lot of people didn't really like it, but I thought it was fine. There was some issues, but I thought it was fine. But I suppose that's an easier one to do. With something like Aladdin, where it is very stylized, and there's a lot of, crazy things going on. And there's, a character that's as iconic as the genie portrayed by someone as iconic as Robin Williams. I was like, this is going to be bad. This has to be bad. This can't be good. And those are my expectations.
Yeah, I think with me, when they announced they're doing live action Aladdin, I was excited because I haven't seen any of these live action remakes of any Disney movies, because none of them have been the ones I really like. My top 3 are or top 4 in no particular order of the old animations are like Lion King, Aladdin, Hercules, and Peter Pan. They're probably my 4.
Mm-hmm.
And they haven't done any of those. I mean, they've done various Peter Pans, but not like in this new era where they're, I'm trying to remake them all. And Aladdin was the first one. I'm like, I'll probably go see that. And then they kind of revealed what the genie would look like, and it just looked like Will Smith. And that whole teaser stuff, I was like, oh god, this is going to be bad. That's kind of was my thoughts on it. But when they released the trailer a month ago, leading up to the tickets going on sale, it's about to come out, and they had A Whole New World song in the trailer, I was like, fuck, alright. I kind of really want to see this now. That's top 3 songs, Disney songs for me of all time.
Yeah.
A Whole New World. So I was like, I'm in. I'll go see it. And then I convinced you in the last cinema room or whatever we were doing that I'm like, what? Oh, it was Clubhouse actually, because I'm like, we could go by the Patreon poll, but I'm like, fuck that. I don't want to see any of those movies, because one, I've already seen one of them, and I want to see something new, because we haven't done a cinema room on anything I haven't seen in terms of movies, other than Avengers Endgame, Captain Marvel. Or what I actually should mean is, outside of the stuff we're both super hyped for, just a general, here's an episode of the cinema room, it's all either been old stuff I've seen and you hadn't seen yet sort of thing. And I'm like, I need something new. Let's go Aladdin. So, saw it. We've seen it. Yeah. We'll start with you, James. What did you think overall, generally, of Aladdin, with your expectations that you thought was going to be shit going in?
Yeah, look, it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, because I thought there was a bunch of aspects where there's no way they could get it right. But I think they managed to do a pretty good job with it. I don't think it at all lives up to the original. I don't think any of these will. I don't think that's possible. But I think it was a really solid, good movie. I don't think it was bad. I think there was some issues with it. My main sort of thoughts is that Act 1 is very messy and odd, and they changed a lot of things.
How do you split? Why don't you split up the acts? Why don't you split up the acts for us?
Okay, right. So,
what would you call Act 1?
Act 1, I would say, is probably from the beginning to.
Is it? I thought it was
okay. Fuck you. Okay, so it's probably up until around when he finds the lamp. So after he gets out of the cave, I would say that's probably the end of Act 1.
Okay, sure.
Act 2 is probably from that point. So when he first meets the genie, he's got the lamp. That whole the Cave of Wonders falls apart and everything, and he's there with the lamp. That's probably the start of Act 2, and that probably ends. God, now I'm trying to think, because this movie is a bit fucked in my head because they spend a lot of fucking time in the palace, and I'm trying to remember. It's just before that sort of final battle thing where Jafar gets the lamp and everything. When he when he gets arrested, that bit, and he gets pushed off the thing into the water or something, somewhere around there. I think the Act 2 was probably the strongest. Had the best music, had the best character moments, all the best comedy sections, all that stuff.
I probably agree. Yep.
And then Act 3 was probably the next best, just because I think it was more solid. It was I also think that the final act in the original Aladdin isn't that interesting anyway. I
agree. Hey, it is the weakest part of the movie.
Bit boring. There's not really there's no music actually. They don't do any songs, right? In Act 3 in the original Aladdin. There is in this new movie because they did a new song. which I like.
Yeah,
but,
I really like the new song actually.
Yeah, I think Act 2 is the strongest. Act 3 was still pretty solid, although it's difficult to do something with that act because I don't like it anyway. And then Act 1 for me, honestly, was just a fucking mess.
Really? Do you think it was that much of a mess?
Especially after watching the original. I think that maybe watching it on its own, you'd be like...
They did do some changes, didn't they, with the first act?
They fucking did. There's a lot of fucking changes. There's a lot of setup, and they skip over some things, and they don't set things up right. So the first thing is, in the original Aladdin, they introduced Jasmine first, and they introduced the fact that, she's being forced into this marriage that she doesn't want any part in because that's tradition, blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, fuck it, I'm going to run away. And that's why she's in the market, because she's running away. And then she ends up being brought back because Aladdin gets caught. But they don't do any of that. She's just in the market. And so it's like,
it's just like she's trying to get a chance to see the people and trying to
and it's just it was just a bit strange that they did that and didn't set up Jasmine first. Just because as well it sets up her whole problem, and then it's like so it sets up Aladdin and then it sets up Jasmine and then they meet and it's like, okay, these two stories are intersecting. Right, whereas this time it just starts you off with Aladdin and he just meets her. They never really explain why she was in the market. I guess it was just
I don't
she
think
wanted
it's
to see her
that
people.
necessary. You kind of know she wants to know her people. Her whole character arc is like how much she loves her people and wants to be a part of it and wants more freedom. So she was just like down there trying to blend in and see the people.
Yeah, that's true. There's also the whole section with her. So in this new one, she gives like some bread to some kids, and then the guy at the market stall is like, whoa, you can't do that. None of that nonsense. And Aladdin's like, hey, it's okay. The interaction was changed a lot, and it was a bit weird. Like, there's some changes that are like fine, but this one was a bit weird because in the original, he's like, they do this little I don't know, this little act of he comes up and he's like because Aladdin's meant to be pretty witty and pretty quick thinking with things, and so he comes up and he's like, oh no, that's just my sister, and he tricks him into thinking it's his sister, and like Jasmine plays along, and he's like, oh, she's just insane, like she's just crazy, and then she plays along with that, and then that's how he tricks the guy at the stall, and they get away, and they have that little moment together. It's like, oh, that's cool. But in this, it's sort of like he just turns, he's like, oh, you got any fucking money? Shit, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna give him your bracelet. Is that right? And that's just like they sort of
probably a bit more realistic,
it.
But it was just a bit because Aladdin's supposed to be a bit more, I guess, witty, like you said, a bit more quick thinking, street smart. They didn't quite show us. They showed his like parkour skills in terms of street smart, but they didn't quite show his wit.
They do a lot. They do a lot more of that in Act 2. I think that he's way more witty, way more interesting, and charismatic and stuff. And he feels like the protagonist. I don't know. He sort of felt like a bit of a dickhead in the first act, almost like they did. They also didn't set up that Jafar's like guys and soldiers were not good people. They just sort of felt like city guards, and he was just sort of robbing things and being a cunt. Whereas in the animated one, they sort of set up that. These aren't like they're not good people. Jafar's not a good guy, and these are all his guys. And they're not good guys. But in
this movie, they're not really his guys. They don't even do it that way. I like the
vizier, right? So he's like the head of the armies and everything.
Yeah, no, but that's not how they kind of are portraying it in the movie. Like they don't ever explain that. Like you're a kid, you don't know what a fucking vizier is. You know what I mean?
I guess so, but that is what he is, though.
Yeah, sure. No, but I mean, just like they serve in the movie. The way they're doing it is like they serve the Sultan. Like they're actually not bad people. They're not just Jafar's guys, right? He runs them, but like that's just his position.
Right, of course, they do that a little bit with that later on, don't they?
Yeah, they do. So they kind of needed to not set it up like that for this particular one.
That makes sense.
And that's mainly because they changed. Two characters they changed the most was Jasmine and Jafar, right? Like just the way they're portrayed. And story-wise, Jasmine a huge amount. Before we get into all that, for me personally, I really liked the movie. Like I really liked it.
I had a good time with it.
Obviously not as much as the animated, but like way more than I thought, and probably more than you did. Yeah. But like, like I like Guy Ritchie movies. He was the director. Like he's got a very specific like way he does things, and the way he did the. I loved. I'll tell you what. The first act I really enjoyed a lot of it was the way they filmed it and the way the sets were built. Like he likes to build those big sets and the way they did Agrabah, and it was obviously all built, and I loved all the costumes and the way they just kind of filmed that parkour chase was so awesome around the city where he's running around, and like it just felt like the real city was there, and he just knows it so well. And the little, like, it felt a bit like watching a theater piece as well.
Yeah.
Like with the build sets, like it didn't look like, it wasn't overproduced. The movie, some movies are just so overproduced that it just kind of misses itself. There's no kind of magic to it or groundedness to it. Like it felt well produced and well filmed and stuff. So like in terms of the first act, story wise, I probably agree. It's probably the messiest one, but I really enjoyed just like the magic they'd built to the world. Like I thought they did a good job visually speaking with like all the costumes and the sets and everything like that, and the way everything looked and came across and the way it was filmed. I really liked it. Pacing wise, it was probably it was pretty fast right off the go, but they started the movie with Will Smith on a boat, right? Like just Will Smith talking to his kids, telling them a story. I like how they did that. That's very Arabian Nights.
The original, but I liked it because in the original, it starts with that trader bloke crossing the desert, and he's played by Robin Williams, and then he tells the story of Aladdin. But obviously in this, they sort of do the same thing. So it's like, it is actually the genie this time, rather than just Will Smith playing another character. Which was
I did like
nice.
that. I kind of liked
that. It. I liked it. It gives the genie a bit more. I don't know where I was going. It gives him a bit more. That's what it does.
Yeah.
Did
you notice a lot about the sets or is that not a big deal to you?
Yes, no, I did. I don't think I noticed until you just said it, but I think I noticed subconsciously, but I don't think I put my finger on it until you said it.
When you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, that's true.
That's what I liked about it. It felt very, it wasn't so, a lot of movies, everything around them looks like CGI, and it's like, you notice it, and it's really obvious. But it was really nice. It was nice that it just felt real and just felt like, they were filming in this actual space, and obviously it wasn't all real. You can't build the whole of Agrabah, but it felt real, and I really liked that. It was really good, yeah.
Yeah, like it, and it wasn't. They didn't look that impressive of sets. Like it wasn't like they built Game of Thrones level sets. Like it looked like they built like a big, they just got a bunch of theater guys in to build like a stage piece, and I like that sort of stuff, especially when you're doing a musical sort of movie, and they didn't they had a bit more songs spread throughout it, but they weren't long. They didn't do as much of a focus on the song pieces as other Disney movies in this. Like they were quite short. Like they're like 2 minutes max. Like, and they half cut songs out and stuff. Like, I think the longest one was like "You Never Had a Friend Like Me." It was probably the longest singular musical piece in the whole thing.
Yeah,
and that was like at the end of the first act, so it was kind of well placed. I liked how spread out they were. They were in important bits, and Aladdin just has fucking awesome songs. Awesome songs, too.
Yeah, true. They're very good.
In terms of characters, I'd love to just, like, break down and compare the characters. Firstly, like, we should probably start with Aladdin and Genie, the two main kind of important characters, but my favourite character in this was, not in this movie, but my favourite character in terms of I actually thought she was better in this movie than the original is Jasmine. I like Jasmine way more in this movie. I don't really like Jasmine that much in the original Aladdin, to be honest.
I think she's fine in the original.
I don't think she's fine. Like, she's not that likable. Like, you love Aladdin, you love Abu, you love the fucking magic carpet more than you like Jasmine.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you kind of like her because Aladdin likes her. And so it's like, yeah she's cool. The only one
and you sympathise with her position, but she's not that like...
Yeah. And you can tell that she's got, she's I don't know, she's a thinker. Like, she's not just sort of like passive. She does want to stand up. She just doesn't really do it. Although there is one thing that I did, there's one change that was a bit strange, which was, again, it was in Act 1. In the original, they do this bit, they sort of mimicked it a little bit, but changed it. In the original, Aladdin and Jasmine are walking along a rooftop at night. It's after I think it's after they've escaped the guards or before, I don't know, Aladdin's showing her around or whatever. And he, like, uses this pole to jump across a building, and then he turns around and he's, like, trying to explain to her how to do it, because he's trying to be all, like, cool, like, oh, I know how to do it, I'll teach you. And then she just sort of picks it up and does it, and Aladdin's like, oh shit, she's pretty cool, like, she just did that on her own. In this movie, they didn't do that, and they they sort of mimicked it in the way that she used like a big wooden pole to get across a building, but she was like really scared, and Aladdin had to be like, no, you're gonna be okay, you gotta do it. I just found that a bit weird. Like, I think that's one of the changes with Jasmine that I was like, that's really strange when you're trying to portray her as this strong character. Why would you take out her confidence in that?
Well, but I think I liked it. That was Act 1 again. Like, I felt like it built up, right? Like, she didn't just stand up every time. Like, it wasn't until right at the end she finally got the real courage to stand up in that biggest moment.
Yeah. No, I like all that stuff. It was just that one moment. I was like, oh, that's a weird change.
I just thought her actress in this movie was far more likable. Like, first of all,
I agree.
Smoke show. I literally sent you a message. I'm halfway through the movie, and I just messaged you, Jasmine is a smoke show. And I was like, this girl is it's ridiculous. She is one of the hottest girls I've ever seen in my life. Who is this girl? It's ridiculous. But also, voice, so the best voice of the movie as well. Also had the best voice. So ridiculous. So, like, for the voice, smoke show, way more likable an actress, the way she played Jasmine. And her storyline was good too, and the only original song they added was one for Jasmine, and it was a really good song too.
Yeah, it was a good song.
Speechless, or I think it's called. And I love how they split it up. Like, they did a kind of soft one at the start, they did a really powerful one at the end in the third act where there's no music at all in the original. So the way they just did Jasmine, loved it. Like, loved. That's the only character I think I liked better in this movie than I did in the original. Though I don't think there's any characters I didn't like. And I feel like you won't like Jafar, but I'm going to give you a pitch here of why I like Jafar.
Yeah,
I don't like him Jafar. Obviously more. The Jafar in the original animated Aladdin is like a menacing, really villainous character, right?
Yeah, he's like a snake. He's like a snake personified. He
looks evil, right? Like, you look at Jafar in the animated, like he the way he's drawn and done, amazing.
One of the best Disney villains. You just couldn't compete with that.
No, but they didn't even try. And this is my pitch to you. They didn't even try. They literally did a completely different character. They didn't do a guy who looks menacing. You don't even have to hear his voice. He looks like a villain, right? In the animated one. Plus, he has just this villainous voice. He's a villainous character. And when he's marrying Jasmine, it's just this sort of weird. It's like, he's so old. Like, this is just creepy. As a kid, you just thought this is so creepy. In this movie, they're playing it like a Littlefinger in Game of Thrones. He's just a con man. Right? Like, they just did a completely different take. Like, he's just a con man, like Aladdin is, but a bad guy. He doesn't have a good heart. The whole talk about the diamond in the rough and everything like that, like, you know, Aladdin is a great person in a rough circumstance. Good heart. Jafar came from that same background, rough background, but he rose to the top through these, like, evil means. He's a con man. He's manipulative. He's trying to rise to the top. So him as a bad guy isn't about, like, this villainous sort of evil guy. He's just like this sort of manipulative con man. It's simpler, and I thought the way they played it was perfect for what they were going for. They didn't try to compete with the animated Jafar, because you can't make a man look like that without looking ridiculous. Like, if they tried to, like, costume him and make up him and give him the beard that curls and shit, he would have looked silly. Yeah, like, it would have looked like they were trying to make a cartoon character. So they didn't even do it, and I appreciate that. I think they actually did. For live action Jafar, I don't think they could have done much better. That's my pitch to you,
you know what? That's a pretty good point. I don't like him more than the original at all. I don't think he's
neither do I
by any means. But that's a good point, because they do set it up as well. Like, when he's in the desert, he like steals the thing from Aladdin. He's like, oh look, I'm just like you. I'm all sneaky and stuff. So yeah, actually that's a good point. Still don't like him that much. I don't think he's that interesting of a villain. But yeah, for what they were trying to do, yeah, they did a fine job, I suppose.
Yeah, I knew I'd get you there. I knew I'd fucking get you there. Fucking nailed it.
Well, okay. Did you though? Because I said he's not that interesting of a villain. If that's nailing it, then. Yeah. Okay.
But I was waiting for you to say no. I didn't like him. I thought he was the worst character in the movie.
He is the worst character in the movie. I mean, I don't know whether he's the worst character in the movie. Maybe that one guy from like one scene where he said like one line is maybe the worst character, but
worst major character probably. But even still, like, I still liked him. Like, I don't think any character was bad in this. Aladdin. What did you think of the guy that played Aladdin?
I thought he was good.
What did you think? You thought he was good?
I thought he did a good job. I thought he did a good job portraying Aladdin, at least, you know, from like the midpoint onwards. I think he was a bit. He was a bit less I don't know what the word is. I don't know. Aladdin's a bit
charismatic.
Maybe charismatic. I mean, I think he pulled it off a bit towards like the midpoint. It was a bit more awkward than Aladdin. Aladdin's sort of quite the only time he gets awkward is when he's trying to. I mean, I guess that was the same though. When he's trying to be someone else, whereas when he's himself, he's like, "Oh, I'm super cool. Look at me." But I guess I guess he kind of was like that in the movie anyway. I don't know what the word is. There's something about Aladdin that's sort of more. I guess it's because it's animated. It's easier to portray his sort of character than it is with live action. Maybe it's just that it was missing, just being animated. Maybe that's all it was. But I thought it was good. I thought it was a good choice. It's tough to cast for these characters, but I thought they did a good job, and I think he did a good job with the songs and the portraying Aladdin himself. So yeah, no, I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, I like the singing wise voice of his wasn't as good as animated Aladdin. Unlike the Jasmine, I thought was so much better.
Yeah,
I think maybe Jasmine overshone him. You know what? Like, in terms of I'm not talking about, like, in acting. In terms of voice. You know what? Probably in acting, too, a bit. Like, I thought the girl who played Jasmine, she was a really good actress.
Yeah, she
was. Girl who
Whereas
played Aladdin was a bit greener, it felt like. Like, I don't know what his history is. I don't know if he's done more or less acting than her, but, like, I thought he was good, but I thought when he had scenes with her, like, she was just a bit better than him.
Yeah, she also felt like she did this balance pretty well between it being like a Disney movie and being like just sort of a regular sort of live action movie, which she did this good balance, and I noticed that it was really good the way that she reacted to things or the way she said things and the way she sang songs as well. Like, it was very Disney accurate, but it wasn't over the top to the point where it was like, this is ridiculous. Like, it was done well, and I liked that. So yeah,
I just realised who my least favourite character was, and I think you'll agree, even more than Jafar, the handmaid.
Oh yeah, I maybe. I don't think I dislike her enough to say she's the worst character. She was just sort of there.
Yeah, she was just sort of there, wasn't she? She was a bit odd.
There's a scene for some reason.
Yeah, there's a scene I'm going to bring up to you that we'll get to later. The one at the door with Genie, like that had me just like, oh god, this is so dumb.
Yeah,
so Disney. This is so Disney right now. Anyway, I really liked with Aladdin. They did Abu really well. In this, surprisingly, I liked Abu a lot. Like, CGI's just so good now, so it's like they had those same moments, like when Aladdin's got Abu in the snow when he's like cast away at the end, and he's like hugging Abu and putting him under his jacket. I kind of really felt their connection and bond in that moment. I was like, oh no, fucking Abu, poor Abu, he's freezing.
Yeah. That was good. I think Abu. I tell you what, I didn't even really notice the difference. Like, I think Abu was done so well that I didn't even think about it when I was watching it. It was just like, oh yeah, it's just Abu. Like, I didn't think about how is this different from the original? Like, it just felt like the character. So I think they nailed that.
I think they nailed Flying Carpet too. Actually,
definitely.
They did Flying Carpet really well in this.
I was upset, though, that when they introduced him, he just sort of, like, tapped Abu on the shoulder or tapped Aladdin. It was like, oh, there's the magic carpet. They didn't do the whole, like, charade of him, like, trying to sneak up on them that was really cool when they introduced him in the original. I missed that. That would have been nice. But I guess they were just like, nah, fuck that. We don't need that.
But they had lots of good interactions with them, like, throughout it, with the Genie and stuff. Like, it felt like the thing about Aladdin in the animated movie, it feels like a team. Abu, the Carpet, Genie, and Aladdin, like, they're a team, and it felt like that in this as well. Yeah, they were all important characters in this team, and that was important to nail, and I feel like they really did a good job of that.
Yeah, they definitely
did. Before we get to Genie, what did you think of the way they did the Sultan?
Oh, yeah, they did what they had to do. I mean, they couldn't do the cartoon version because he's so ridiculous.
He's so ridiculous, yeah. I liked him in this. He was fine.
So, yeah, he was fine. He just did what he had to do. He wasn't better than the original, but you couldn't emulate the original. Like, he's just this tiny fat man that is mental. Like, he's brilliant. He's one of my favorite characters in the original. I fucking love him. But yeah, there's no way they could have done that. That would have, like, you just can't, because it's not like he's a dwarf. Like, he's a regular man. He's just really small. Like, I don't know. It's weird. But so yeah, you really couldn't have done that. But he's fine. He's just sort of fine.
Yeah, true. And the Genie, the most iconic character of Aladdin, played by Robin Williams, one of the most iconic Disney characters of all time. They got Will Smith to do it. They obviously couldn't do Robin Williams genie. You can't. It's impossible. You just have to do your own genie.
Do you think beforehand they considered CGIing Robin Williams and having him be the genie? Because they have what is it, 17 hours of footage of him recording lines. Do you think they ever considered it?
I don't think Guy Ritchie considered it.
Okay.
Knowing Guy Ritchie,
maybe Disney did.
Yeah, no, personally, the way I personally know the director Guy Ritchie.
You're a good friend.
Yeah. But no, just not being a fan of Guy Ritchie, and seeing him in interviews, knowing what he's like, I don't think he even for a second considered it. What do I think it was brought up in meetings and written on a board somewhere by somebody? Yeah, probably. Yeah. But I don't think it got further than that. I don't think it got very far.
Do you think if Robin Williams was still about, he would have done it?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I don't. Do I think he would have done it, or do I think they would have asked him to do it? I think they would have asked him to do it. They would have begged him to do it the same way. James Earl Jones is still voicing Mufasa in The Lion King.
Yes, of course, yeah.
But I don't think Robin Williams would have done it.
I think I mean, to be fair though, with Robin Williams, they did have a big dispute and their big falling out because of the marketing for the first Aladdin. He was like, I only want you to use Genie for 25% of the marketing. I don't want you to use the Genie to market this movie. They were like, sure thing. And then they used Genie to market the movie. He was just excited
to be a side character. He didn't want to be the main character.
Yeah, and then he was really pissed off and was like, no, okay, I'm not doing anything else for you guys. But then I think it was...
It's been a lot of years since then.
It was early 2000s or something when the new CEO or whatever took over. He sent out a public apology saying that he's sorry, and then Robin Williams did actually reprise the Genie in Aladdin 3, which was a movie that came out. And he also did it in some future projects as well, little things here and there. So I feel like he might have done it. I feel like he might have done it, just, sort of one last time, maybe. But who knows? It would have been weird, though, if Robin Williams was still alive and it was Will Smith. That would have been weirder, because people would have been like, oh, this is weird. Why are you even doing this? Robin Williams said, no, you shouldn't have made this at all. But the fact that they couldn't even ask him because he's not around, it sort of makes more sense. No one's mad that it's not Robin Williams, because it's like, it couldn't be. So, I don't know. But yeah, the Genie, who I expected to probably be my least favourite character,
definitely wasn't.
Wasn't my least favourite character. No.
I thought Will Smith was great. He did his own Genie. I thought it was really good.
Yeah. There's some lines they kept the same because they had to, and I think he did them fine. They sort of were there for the story, but everything else was his own jokes. And I mean, a lot of the Genie's jokes are very dated because the movie came out in 92, and they're very sort of late 80s, early 90s jokes about celebrities, when he's, doing impressions of them, and it's you couldn't have done those. You can't have him turning into Jack Nicholson in 2019. It's that doesn't work.
Yeah. You had to do your own totally new jokes, everything new. You can't do anything keep his heart the same, right? What his character is and who he represents, but humor-wise and the way he's played has to be Will Smith doing his own thing, and I thought Will Smith did you know what? I think he did a great job.
I think he did too.
I really liked the Genie. And his humour was really good. My favourite, in terms of comedy, my favourite bit was when Prince Ali and Genie go into the, main hall of the palace and meet Jasmine.
Yeah.
And, Genie's there and he's just like,
funny.
Yeah, he's just like, I know I've just got out of the lamp after 1,000 years, but I really want to go back in right now. This is so embarrassing. I was like, that whole bit... I thought it was all really funny, and I'm like, I went to that movie by myself. I was no one there, but I laughed out loud a couple of times in the middle, in that second act. The humor really picked up and did a good job.
Yeah, it was really great. I think that he did his own thing, and I think I found him funnier as the movie went on because he sort of won my trust. From the beginning, when he does his first song, I was like, okay, I'm on board. He's done. It feels like the Genie, but it doesn't feel like Robin Williams, but it still feels like the Genie, and that's good, and I liked it. And then from that point on, I was like, yeah, he's doing a great job. He's funny. He's doing his own thing. But he still feels like the Genie. And it's actually mental that they managed to do that with such a beloved, iconic character, with such a beloved, iconic actor playing that character. They managed to succeed in doing this. There's going to be people out there that are like, oh, it's not Robin Williams, so fuck it, I don't care. But I think if you watch this movie and you're going in with an open mind, you're like, yeah, if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, then whatever. I think you've got to like it, because I think they pulled it off. I think they did a really good job with it, and I think Will Smith did a really good job with it.
In terms of the music numbers, like Never Had a Friend Like Me, did you think Will Smith did a good job of that as well in comparison to Robert Williams?
I think so. I think it was good.
What was your favorite music number?
God, I think it's got either probably A Whole New World, just because that's one of my favorite, maybe my favorite Disney song, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think it was great, and I think that was it better? I mean, I think maybe the song itself might have been better than the original. I think that because, what's her name, who plays Jasmine, has a much better voice.
She
so
was better.
Way more powerful.
I don't think the Aladdin voice is better. Like, he starts it, and even listen to it, because I've listened to it since. Mm-hmm. And I like he's good, but once she comes in, it's like, oh shit, here we go. This is really good. Like, yeah.
And to be fair, Jasmine sings the main, because although Aladdin sets up the song and he's going into it and everything, it's when Jasmine starts singing that it really sort of gets into it, and it's got like all the music in the background. It's like, oh, this is really, really nice song, real wholesome. Yeah, that was probably my favorite, just because I fucking love it. It's so good. I love that song.
Yeah, I agree. That was my favorite. That's top 3 for me, Disney songs of all time for sure. You know what? What is your top 3 when you think of like Disney songs? What are your 3 favorite Disney songs? I know what my number 1 is. I'm gonna leave that, but it's not A Whole New World. That's like second or third.
I really like Whole New World. I really like what's that one from Little Mermaid where she's like, I want to bloody walk about. What's that? It's in Kingdom Hearts.
Is it?
Yeah, she sings it in the first one.
Which Kingdom Hearts?
The first one. The first one. Yeah, it is. She sings it in the first one.
I don't know. I'm not into the Little Mermaid as much as you were, bro.
What is it called?
That's not one of my favorite.
It's literally like A Whole New World, but it's not that. It's like oh god, what the fuck is it called? I'm gonna Google it. Hang on.
Little Mermaid songs.
I've
just googled it. Fathoms Below, Fanfaria.
Part of Your World. That's the one.
Part of Your World.
Yeah, it's like the same song. That's probably why I like it.
Part of Your World. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one.
1989. All right. I guess.
And then I don't know. It's probably something from Lion King, like Just Can't Wait to Be King.
Yeah, sure.
Like that one. That might be up there. I don't know. You tell me yours. Maybe it'll jog my memory.
Yeah. And you know what? I was talking to Harlan about his favorite Disney songs because he loves Disney animations like you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, in terms of soundtrack, Lion King has the best soundtrack overall, top to bottom, and that's not including original songs, not including movie songs, just like background music that was involved. Circle of Life, you know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Top 3, probably 3 is A Whole New World, 2 or 3 is A Whole New World. Then it is probably it's from The Lion King.
Okay.
Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Okay. Yeah.
Great song.
That's very
great
good.
song. But Elton John singing it, like in the credits.
Yeah.
Like that's.
Yeah.
That's when I'm like, or Circle of Life when Elton John sings it. Like Elton John killed it on the Lion King soundtrack. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. That's true.
But number 1 is I Can Go the Distance in Hercules.
Oh, yeah, of course. No, that's my number 1. That's my number 1. That's
exactly. I said that to him too. He's like, I'm like, you're missing one. He's like, what is it? What is it? I'm like, and I just played it. He's like, fuck, that is number 1. I'm like, I know, of course.
That song
I Can Go the Distance. Good. I Can Go the Distance. God. You're telling me Let It Go is the best thing. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Watch Hercules. I Can Go the Distance. Oh,
that song
Jesus
is like
Christ.
the Disney song. Every time, whenever I've been to Disney World, they always play that song all the time. It's such a magical song. I fucking love it. That's such a good song.
You hadn't even seen Hercules until a couple of years
ago.
I remember telling you, I'm like, you haven't seen Hercules? That's got to be top 3 for me as well. Like Aladdin, Lion King, Hercules.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, so good.
Hercules is really good. There's a couple other of those Disney movies I haven't seen in that era. There's Mulan.
Like what?
And Pocahontas.
You haven't seen Mulan?
No, never seen it. I don't know why. I just haven't. I
haven't seen Pocahontas since I was a kid. I don't remember it being all that good.
Mulan, when did that come out? Came out in 1998. It was a year after I was born. Okay.
Yeah, and Mulan was my era. Like, I saw that at cinemas.
Oh, Pocahontas.
I definitely saw... Pocahontas is old as fuck.
When did that come out? That's
70s?
No.
80s?
It's 95.
Bullshit.
No.
The year I was
born.
Bullshit. Hercules was 97. Like, I knew that was in my lifetime.
Brilliant. That's the year I was born.
I don't know if I saw it at cinemas, but it was definitely like one of those things that was new when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But Mulan, I remember seeing at cinemas. Like, that might be one of the first things I remember seeing. If that was 97, yeah, I would have been 3. No, not 98, I would have been 3, yeah. Pocahontas?
Yeah.
95? Bullshit.
Yeah, year after The Lion King.
Yeah, wow. Lion King was 94?
It was 94, yeah. Tarzan, that's another Disney Renaissance movie.
Tarzan, yeah, that's up there.
That's fine. I never really liked it that much, to be honest with you.
Really? Really?
Not really.
Tarzan as a kid, that came out in 99, so I was 4 years old. Tarzan was my shit as a kid. Lion King and Tarzan. Like, I used to love, like, dude, 100%, I used to swing off trees and shit. I'd get ropes in backyards, and I would, like, as like a 4 years old, 5 years old, dude, I would get, like, underwear, cloths, and just be shirtless, running around swinging on trees. I loved Tarzan. I wanted to be Tarzan. I wanted to be Mowgli from the Jungle Book. I loved all those animals and jungle movies. Tarzan,
I didn't
Jungle
like him
Book,
in the jungle because I was never a huge fan of Jungle Book or Tarzan because I just they were all set in the jungle. And
yeah, I love that. I love that shit. Gorillas and shit. Oh, fucking.
I don't find gorillas that interesting. I'm like, it's a gorilla.
I still find gorillas
interesting.
Same. I still find gorillas interesting as an adult too. That's so funny.
Little Mermaid 2 counts as a Renaissance movie. Did that come
with
to
your
the
Little
cinemas?
Mermaid bullshit. That's a shit movie.
Straight
Little
to
Mermaid
video?
Is shit. Fuck off, Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid's great. Fuck off. You're like Hook.
You forget we're talking about Disney movies, you cunt. Stop bringing up Hook.
Yeah, I love Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid's a great movie. I love Flounder and Sebastian and
oh god, basic
Ariel.
Bitch characters.
Oh, they're great.
Ariel's a basic bitch if I've ever seen one.
They should
basic
do
white girl.
A crossover movie where they all show up. It's Kingdom Hearts, just not Kingdom Hearts. I just want all the characters to show up and fight all the Disney villains. Mickey Mouse can be in it. He can be the one that joins them all together. That'd be great. It's like Avengers.
You suck.
And they can combine all their music and they have all their best music and they're all singing it. That'd be great. Ariel can sing The Circle of Life and Simba can sing fucking I Can Go the Distance. It'll be great. I can't wait.
Stop
it's not going to happen though.
Obviously it's not going to happen, James. Shut the fuck up.
Beauty and the Beast. That's another one. I really like that song. I really like the movie, but that song, Beauty and the Beast.
When's Beauty and the Beast come out?
91.
91. Wow, the 90s was hot for Disney movies.
Yeah, that's what they're called, the Disney Renaissance movies, where they did all their best movies. It was through that period of like mid 80s to late 90s.
See, mine though. Then again, top 4 for me is Peter Pan. Man, that's 1953.
Yeah. See, they went through a period like their early ones in like the 30s, 40s, and 50s were all great movies, and then they went through a bit of a lull. And then they picked back up again in the 80s and 90s.
Bambi, 1942. That came out during the Second World War. Bambi, man. Bambi is the shit.
Bambi is great. Bambi's a great movie.
The music in Bambi, oh, holy fuck. Like, not even just like this, like, I don't even remember singing when I think about it, but just like the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
So fucking good. How dare they did a Bambi 2 in 2006. How dare you?
They probably did a Bambi 3 as well. There's like 3 Aladdin movies. There's a couple of Cinderella movies. They did too many Cinderella movies. That is ridiculous.
Cinderella 1950. Pinocchio 1940.
Yeah,
Dumbo 41. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs 1937. Like, they had their renaissance, and they had a renaissance like the 30s and 40s, right?
That's when they started.
Probably led up to... But what... So Cinderella comes out 1950. Peter Pan comes out in 54. After that, there's nothing until like the 80s, man.
Yeah, that's when they sort of died out a little bit. I mean, they did Sleeping Beauty. That was 59. It's a good movie.
Sleeping Beauty.
But yeah, they just pumping shit out. Sword in the Stone, Mary Poppins, The Jungle Book. That was during the 60s.
Mary Poppins was in the 60s?
Yep.
That's up there. I'm thinking animation, but yeah, Mary Poppins is one of my all-time faves.
Arash the Cats.
I used
Robin
to know some
Hood.
of the dances to Mary Poppins.
Robin Hood, the Disney cartoon Robin Hood with the animals. I fucking love that. I love that movie.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's really good. That's really good. Man. Oh fuck, that's funny. That's so funny. I'm thinking about that. Like, there's so many good fucking Disney movies. You forget sometimes how good, even now, like some of these are. And the ones that you've only kind of seen when you were a kid. That I remember with so much like nostalgia. Like I got so many stories as a kid that my mum tells me about that I don't really remember. Like, mum used to say, because I used to be obsessed with movies, right? Like obsessed in the sense like I'd watch it every day for like a month and then never watch it again.
Yeah.
And that because I'd have a new one. I'd see a new one and then I'd be obsessed with that one. I couldn't like balance it out. So like Mary Poppins, I used to watch like every day for like a month, and Mum said I used to know the chimney sweep dance, and I used to do the dance and stuff.
Oh, that's great.
I could do that.
That's great.
And when I was obsessed with like Tarzan and the Jungle Book, I used to run around in just like underwear and pretend I was Mowgli and shit. And I was outside and I didn't want to come in, and I was arguing with my mum, and I was like 4 years old, right?
Yeah.
And Mum goes. And I was like, I'm going to run away and be like Mowgli and live in the jungle. Mum goes, fine, run away. And lets me out the door and then closes the door and locks it. And then I just stand there, turn around and start crying. Yeah. Didn't go too well for me being Mowgli. It lasted all of 2 seconds before I just burst into tears. Oh, fuck, that's funny.
God, funny. That's funny.
But back to Aladdin.
Yeah, that movie.
You know, this is... Yeah, that'd be ideal. Trying to think of some of the... There's a couple of things you have to nail with Aladdin. A couple of like important character moments, and there was one that really stood out to me, like when it happened, that is the most famous probably moment of the movie, or the most important moment of the movie, which is when Aladdin frees Genie. The way the line was delivered, I thought was better than the original, to be honest.
Okay.
There was something about the way they did just that dialogue and the way it was delivered. I don't know what it was. I felt it like way more than I did as a kid. Like when you know it's coming when you're watching it as a kid. And even though I knew it was coming here because it's, I don't know what it was. Like it just felt like way more real. And I was like, oh, fuck yeah, he's free. Fuck yeah, that was awesome. I don't know what it was. Just for me, that moment stood out for me when I watched it. That was the most standout sort of character line that I remember when I saw it. I was like, oh shit, that made an impact even though I knew exactly what was going to happen.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think it was probably on par with the original, to be honest. I don't think it was better. I don't think it was worse, though. I just think it was, probably felt about the same. I was like, yeah, this is nice. I like this moment.
Anything stand out to you? What did you think of Jasmine's storyline? Where they obviously went with quite a important feminist storyline of women empowerment and women can be in charge. Like that was obviously I didn't want to let that ruin the performance of that. Oh, I need to know her name. The performance of the woman who played Jasmine, because she was so good, and I wasn't going to let like a kind of obvious Naomi Scott. Her performance as Jasmine was so fucking tremendous. I wasn't going to let like a bit of a obvious roll of your eyes storyline ruin that. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that it was a bit weird in some places where Jafar keeps saying over and over again to like shut the fuck up and know your place, you stupid woman, basically. He says it a few times, whereas in the original movie, I mean, it was never really like that. They all sort of respected Jasmine because she was a princess, she was beautiful, blah blah blah. Like it was never like that in the original, although there was the whole backstory of she's being forced to marry someone, and her dad didn't want that for her. She didn't want to do it, but, it was like, oh, it's tradition, we kind of got to do it. And then Jafar was like, yeah, I'm going to rape your daughter. And that sort of, that felt natural. In this, it was very clear that it was like, oh, this horrible, evil man. I mean, Jafar is a horrible, evil man. But he was like, oh, no, don't know your place. But even her dad was joining in on it, which is weird because he was never like that in the original. Like, but in this, her dad was like, "Oh no, it's
but it was
tradition.
more like
You'll
he was
understand
more of
when
a
you're
leader.
older why."
Yeah, it was more like
know.
he's trying to convince her, or like it's just that's part of her storyline. He had to be that way, right? Or else it wouldn't have worked.
Yeah,
or
true.
else there'd be no reason
they
for her to find a marriage. Because like, no, tradition is.
Yeah, it was just weird because it made me dislike her dad, and I'm like, but I really like her dad in the original. He's a nice bloke.
Yeah, but it's a different character, mate. They got to do different things for the different storylines they did.
I know, but so in this, like, she wants to be Sultan. She didn't really want that at all in the original. She's like, yeah, I mean, I don't really want that. But the one thing I did find strange when I was watching the original before I even watched this new one is when the movie ends, I was like, wait, so Aladdin is the Sultan now when her dad dies or whatever? That's really weird.
No, Jasmine's the Sultan.
No, in the original though.
Oh,
Aladdin is the Sultan.
Yeah.
To me, I was like, that's fucking weird. I was like, I feel like Jasmine should be the Sultan, even though Aladdin's the bloke. I was like, that is weird because he doesn't need to, like, that was weird to me. And then I went and watched this one and I was like, oh, I was literally thinking this when I was watching the other one. So good change. They took that right out of my head.
Yeah.
They did it in a very feminist way and it was obvious, but still. They did the thing that I thought made more sense.
You know, it's fine, man. It's the world we're in. It is what it is. Like, little girls watching it, they're like, who cares, man? It's Disney. Let little girls look at that and be like, I can be in charge.
I can be a sultan.
You're not gonna be, but you know, you can be.
Not while the men are around.
Well, no, not while the epic red-headed men are around to beat you down. Shout out to Tulsi.
Jesus Christ.
Have you? No, we're not going to talk about that.
No,
I was
let's
about to
not.
bring up. Yeah. Whole different topic of conversation. Aladdin.
More Aladdin.
Loved Prince Ali. That music number was really good. That was fun.
Very good. Although I did notice in that bit, Genie didn't move around as much as he does in the original. I liked that he was sort of like teleporting about, doing crazy stuff. In this, he was sort of standing on a float for the whole thing.
He jumped around and was like girls. Remember, he jumped off.
Yeah, he did that bit, but there was other bits where, like, there's the bit where he's like, he's singing about like bowing down, and he goes up behind someone and like kicks him in the back of the leg or something, and makes him bow. It's a bit aggressive, but he does that. I mean, it was just like a little thing. I was like, oh, he's sort of a bit static here.
Yeah,
but the song
party
was good,
scene was good, like with the dancing and stuff. Was funny in the way.
I like that, the whole party thing. They did a lot in the middle that they padded it out a bit with stuff that gave it a bit more. I don't know, a bit more context to it. Like they gave it a bit more story rather than just sort of this is happening now, this is happening now, this is happening. Because in the original, after he does the Prince Ali thing and everything, he just goes to. I mean, he meets in the hall and everything, but after that, he goes and he's like on the balcony and they do the whole new world. But in this, there's a whole other section. You got like the party stuff after he's been in the. It's not. I think it's the throne room, but whatever room that is. Oh no, it is. I don't know. Anyway, that they do that section, which is funny. They have the party with the dance and everything. That's all really good, and there's some cool character moments there. Yeah, I like that they changed all that and added some more things here and there. That's why I think Act 2 is so strong, because there's so much good stuff that was added and changed. Like, it's the best changes are probably in Act 2.
Yeah, I agree. The second act was definitely the strongest. The Cave of Wonders was still really good, I thought.
Yeah, it was good.
The way it was done. And the same way they did the Abu thing. Like, it wasn't just like a dumb monkey moment, right, where he just sees it and he goes crazy. It just fell right in his lap and he's looking at it and then it gets into a trance. I kind of like that a bit more. I was less annoyed at Abu. I remember as a kid being so annoyed at Abu for fucking.
It was like an accident this time. It was like, oh no, yeah. Yeah, it was good.
And accidentally on purpose. Yeah. Which I'm more okay with.
Yeah.
More okay with. Yeah, man, I honestly just really dug this movie a lot. Like, I just enjoyed watching it. Felt good, was well directed. All the costumes were great. Music numbers were really good. Nothing was bad. Like, in the second act, Jasmine had a really strong moment where she was like going to the soldiers and like, who was your soldier? Oh yeah, this is the weird moment. I actually want to bring this up. The only moment I'm watching the movie and I'm kind of like, this is fucking dumb. This is dumb. Was third act. Jafar's got the lamp. His first wish, I wish to be Sultan. in front of everyone, he just, all he did in front of everyone was, I wish to be Sultan. The genie swaps their hats, gives him a throne, he sits down, and all the guards are looking around like, and sort of goes, I guess he's the Sultan now. Like, what are you, what? No. He's not just the Sultan now. Like, that's not how it works. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
No,
at all. If you killed the Sultan, if the genie then had to kill the Sultan, and then, like, gave a throne to Jafar, and he's like, I'm the Sultan, and no one's accepting Jasmine as, like, you know, the Sultan because she's female, they're like, well, I guess Jafar has to be the Sultan, so I guess we follow him. Like, that would kind of make sense, but no, they all just were like, oh, I follow the Sultan. Yeah, you do. The guy that's next to you, not Jafar, who just got a hat. Like, you just saw him wish it. That doesn't make it so. Like, he didn't do anything else. Like, it's so dumb.
That is really stupid. Yeah, I guess I just saw it as a Disney movie. I'm like, oh, it's just a Disney movie. It's a bit silly. But actually, yeah, that is a bit weird, isn't it?
You're so dumb. I don't remember if that's how it goes in the original, but I was sitting there like, what the fuck is happening?
That doesn't happen in the original.
Yeah,
does he wish to be Sultan? Oh, no, he does. Okay, so he wishes to be Sultan. And then the genie strips the actual Sultan of all of his clothes. They all, like, vanish. He gives Jafar a new outfit and, like, he pulls the roof off of the palace and takes it up into the sky or whatever. And then Jafar is, like, the Sultan because he sort of, like, has all this power, and then he turns into a snake. He didn't turn into the snake in this movie. I wasn't expecting it because I was like, there's no way they're going to do it.
But he got a snake that came back because his staff got broken. He got a snake that came back and made a new staff.
Yeah, but he didn't turn into the snake. That's like a Jafar thing. Like, Jafar is a snake. I love it. It's really good. I didn't expect him to do it, but that's just something I love about the original, is Jafar turns into a snake, and that's iconic. That's fun.
Cool, it's not that iconic, but relax.
It is, though, isn't it? It is, though, because he's a snake. That's the point. He looks like a snake, and then he turns into a real one.
We've got it. We don't need it like that jammed in our face. We've got it. We're not done.
Look, I love it. It's great. It's like how Maleficent turns into a dragon. You can't not have that.
You can't not have that. Agreed. You cannot have him turn it into a snake, though. That's not as iconic.
Yeah, it is.
Maleficent turning into a dragon is 10 times more iconic than Jafar turning into a snake, because I forgot it even happened, as you just pointed out.
Well, yeah, you're dumb. At least he turned into the genie, though. They had that moment.
Yeah, of course. Like, that's... Him turning into the genie is iconic. Not a fucking snake, you dickhead.
Sure. There's this moment, right? And I don't know if you agree with me. I thought it was the weirdest fucking change. It was when they're in the Cave of Wonders. And in the original... Aladdin tricks Genie into getting out of the cave without using a wish. By I forget what does he do in the original? He's calling his bluff.
Like, I bet you couldn't do it.
He's like, I bet you couldn't do it, and then he tricks him into doing it. He's like, there you go, tricked you. I felt like the change they made was a bit weird. It honestly confused me. I was like, wait, what did he even do? Did Abu rub the lamp, or did he fake rub the like? What happened?
He didn't even rub the lamp at all. He just said, I wish. He hid the lamp behind him as he was explaining the rules. Like, Aladdin played him because he did the song, and then he's like, wait, what's the rules again? And, like, we kind of tricked him.
Okay, yeah, I don't like that trick as much, to be honest. I thought it was weird. It confused me when I was watching it. I was like, I don't even know what just happened here. It was weird. I wasn't a fan of that, but there's that. Yeah. I do like as well. The other thing was that when Aladdin wishes to, he's like, make me a prince. Genie explains like that, that's not a good wish because that could be, misconstrued in a bunch of different ways. Which Genie never even touches upon in the original, which I thought was weird. When I was rewatching the original, I was like, oh, that's a really weird way of phrasing it, but I guess that just works. But in this one, he touches upon it, and it was good. And
it comes back later as well with that Genie wish.
Yeah.
That's a very vague wish, but okay. And then you know what I mean.
They set it up properly, which is good. That was good, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a lot of nice subtle things in this movie, I thought, that kind of played forward later. Then at the start, kind of like, that's a weird change, but then plays back later, like you said, with Jafar and all the guards and stuff, like, that played back later into ended up being loyal to Jasmine and the Sultan, and Jasmine had a second round of that Speechless song, which was just, like, a really, really powerful song, and she just kind of... Yeah, she stole the show for me in a lot of ways. She was probably the best actress in it, and Will Smith also nailed his part. And the handmaid, she was whatever. Like, her seeing the genie was so Disney, her closing the door and back when the genie's trying to distract her and shit before A Whole New World. It was like, okay, I guess so.
Yeah.
But, was what it was. Do you have any other thoughts on Aladdin?
I feel like there's got to be at least one thing. I don't know. No,
yeah, I'm not sure, man.
I don't think so. I feel like that's it. I feel like we covered it.
Do you think it's the best live-action Disney movie they've done so far?
Yeah, I've only seen Beauty and the Beast. I didn't go see Dumbo. I don't really like Dumbo that much. It's
they did Cinderella, didn't they, as well?
Does that count? I don't know if that's one of these movies.
Came out 3 years ago.
Cinderella. Oh, it does count. That's weird. I always counted that as like a separate thing. I've never seen that. It's got decent reviews.
Jungle Book counts, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. I suppose it does.
So you got Cinderella, The Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Dumbo, The Lion King.
God, I forgot about all of these.
I haven't seen any of them.
I've seen Beauty and the Beast.
Christopher Robin's kind of... You could kind of count Christopher Robin.
Nah, I don't count that. That's different.
It's not a live-action remake, but it's a live-action rendition of Disney, a classic animated Disney.
If you count that, then it's the best, but it's not really the same. Because if
Do you think Christopher Robin was better than Aladdin?
Yeah, way better. I love Christopher Robin. That movie had me in fucking tears. I loved it.
Yeah, I did love it too. I think Aladdin's better, though. I do think Aladdin's better than it.
I don't. But,
yeah. I think Christopher Robin was great for nostalgia, like if you loved Winnie the Pooh and everything, but like as a movie structurally, like it's a bit slow. It's a bit of a slow movie, kind of all the way through.
I could have Winnie the Pooh just sitting in a room on his own. I'd love it. I love Winnie the Pooh.
You could.
I could, yeah. I think that I don't think it counts though, because if Christopher Robin were a remake, I don't think it would be as good. But I think it's strong because it's not a remake. It's its own sort of thing. So I'm not going to count that one.
So they're doing Lady and the Tramp.
They are doing Lady and the Tramp.
I love Lady and the Tramp, the original. So that's 2019. I haven't seen a trailer for it though. And they're doing Mulan as well, which I really like. You haven't even seen Mulan. You need to see the original Mulan before you fucking watch this one, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
Because Mulan's a really good movie.
They're also doing The Lion King, which we obviously know about. It's coming out in a couple months, which will be good. I hope.
Wait, I missed that. The Lion King, you mean?
The Lion King, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, I played the trailer and a big loud noise came out. Lion King looks good, though. Like, it looks good.
I hope
Hopefully it is good.
I hope the lions actually look, like, characterized, because in those trailers, they just look like a bunch of photorealistic lions walking about. So...
Yeah, and you're like, I can't tell the difference between any of you.
Hopefully there's a bit more to it there, but... If this is anything to go by, it looks like at least I feel like they're improving every time they make one of these. So hopefully, Lion King is a good movie.
Jon Favreau direct The Lion King? Am I wrong? Am I totally wrong?
Yes, it is.
Directed Jon Favreau. Yeah, bro, we're fine, eh? Yeah, Donald Glover's Simba? Yeah. Beyonce's Nala. Why they didn't get Jeremy Irons as Scar is fucking...
It's because he's white. He's white, and this is set in Africa. You can't whitewash the lions. No joke. I think that's probably why. I think that's probably what it was.
And why they didn't do... Honestly, I don't know why they... Because, their characters just get all the original actors in. I don't understand why... Why is Seth Rogen playing fucking Pumbaa? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? John Oliver playing Zazu is actually really good, actually. Yeah, that's actually really good casting.
Rowan Atkinson, though. You could have got the original cast. Like, not everyone, but, like, there's some iconic voices that... Like, Scar. If you're going to have anyone, it's got Mufasa and Scar. You've got to have those two. Like,
they're the two. Yeah.
Scar is going to be lackluster in this. There's no way you're going to capture Jeremy Irons with this other guy. Who is it? It's the guy that plays that guy from Doctor Strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Chiwetel.
Nah, see, he's not. No, he's not going to do it good. I'm sorry.
No, he's not.
He's a fine bloke, but he's not Scar.
No.
At least they've got Mufasa, though. Donald Glover will do great. So, yeah. I guess just got to wait and see for that one.
There it is. All right. Well, I loved Aladdin. Really enjoyed it. That is this episode of the Cinema Room. I hope... let us know what you thought of Disney's Aladdin down in the comments, both on Patreon and on YouTube or SoundCloud or wherever you can let us know. Twitter, if you're listening,
comment on SoundCloud. Let us know what you thought of Aladdin.
You can comment on SoundCloud.
I know you can, but are either of us going to look at that?
Nah, just... If you're listening on audio or podcast services, just tweet us. Follow me on Instagram also. I made an Instagram. at Tyler Tynamite. So follow me on fucking Instagram, you fucks.
Yeah.
And the next cinema room, we're doing Troy, which is one of my all-time favourite movies, top 5 all-time favourite movies, and James has never seen it, so we're watching Troy.
Can we do Hook at some point?
We definitely need to do Hook, and we will. But let's do Troy first. And I feel like Hook's become such a meme. We've got to
do Hook. I really want to know your honest, raw thoughts on Hook after rewatching it. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in about 17 years, so yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm excited. Imagine if I love it. I'm like, fuck you, nah, I stand by it.
Hook holds up.
Hook holds up. I'm going to make a shirt. I'll wear a shirt during the podcast that says Hook holds up. So yeah, the next podcast will be Troy, directed by Wolfgang Peterson. If you haven't seen it, go watch it now, and be prepared for the next Cinema Room podcast. One of the best movies ever.
For sure.
So enjoy that.
Brilliant.
All right, James, wrap this motherfucker up.
All right, thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Cinema Room. Thank you to our Patreon producers, King Richard III, Ikraik, Seth, and Josh Devillier. If you like what you're listening to, if you're listening on YouTube, that is, if you're listening on Patreon, then thank you very much. If you're listening on YouTube, though, or podcast services, you can get these episodes 1 week early by pledging just $1 to patreon.com/asalways, as well as exclusive access to the Clubhouse podcast, which is the best podcast in the world. So you don't want to miss that. And to thank everybody that's pledging over, well, not everybody, $5 plus that are pledging over on patreon.com/asalways. We've got King Richard III, Ikraik, Seth, Ballsack47, Kassassin, Josh Devillier, TJFL, Damian, Billy the Team Tynamite Captain, Robertson, Tman or Travis, KEMOSABE, Gamer, Alfie Rodbert, Casey Wood, Adam Sundling, Alfie Rowsell, Jamie Brown, Smexy Dork, Lumistrad, Mario5380, Cappersworthy, Viridian, Pink Flame 313, ArunWyn, OllieTheDane, Fuck Cuck, Neeb, Brendon on BQ Overlord, Ravjai, Julie, Prudhvi Muvva, Oscar, Benedict Parker Returns, James and Lad, Connor Durose Bully in the Alley, Zahir, Gene, Zeek Collins, Son of a Bitch Ogeaidogo, Dammit Glenn, Furious Coco, the ACMJS, Delta R. Rodriguez, Kyle, S. Jaws, Kyle Marvel, Marcus Blackburn, Emil Katborg, Joshua Mora, Ginko Swag, Baby Boy, Master Bass, Yazen, Joe the Sexy Boi Smith, Elsterco91, Joe A.K.A FoundedScarab, HBots12, Goldenbago, I'm Mans for the Dads, Brian Ford, Casper, Milk Boy, Shields, Fishy, and Andrew Martinez. Thank you all so much for continued support. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Cinema Room. We'll see you in a week's time. Oh, shit, I shouldn't have said that because I don't know where we are. If you're listening on Patreon, we'll see you in a week for Clubhouse. And if you're listening on YouTube, we'll see you in a week for Kill Connor. Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
There we
Brilliant. That's it.
Alrighty. See you, fam.
See you later. Bye, boys and girls.